Okay, so we are so close to launching this. Probably, well, possibly next week. I'm going to be launching the Underground Railroad Ball to my email subscriber list. If you are, oh, I'm showing the wrong things. If you are already on that list, no problem. You're going to get a free copy of this novel in a ebook form, Kindle, Nook, PDF, whatever, however you want to, whatever works best for you. By the way, if I'm shouting, it's because I'm having allergies and my ears are plugged, so I can barely hear anything. So please excuse me. I'm going to try not to shout at you. All right, so that's my cold open. Who am I? I am the author that you know. I'm the author of 6 novels, uh, a novella that is going to be out probably in a week or so, and also 2 nonfiction works. So let's get right into it. Now, I want to start by apologizing because last week I thought I was really doing well. I had gone live. My goal is to go live at least once a week, and I went live twice. I can't remember what the first one was. I think it was a review, but then I had I wrote my blurb for my novella, and I'm like, okay, well, if I have something to talk about, I'm going to go live. Well, I guess the gods will only allow me to go live once a week because when I listened back to it, the quality was terrible. I saw while I was live on my readout, you can't see it, but I can see them live and how long I've been live. I started getting, like, right now it just tells me how long I've been live for, almost 2 minutes now. It started showing me bars, and those bars were dropping, and so basically my signal was dropping in and out. So when I listened back to it, and I listened back to most of my lives, not out of sheer narcissism, which is probably some of that in there, but also I want to check. First of all, I'm trying to get better at everything I do, including speaking and doing live YouTube videos. And so, I'm working on not umming and ahhing too much. Some is okay, it's natural, but not to be like, uh. And then also, I have a really bad habit of trying to pack too much into a sentence and getting so sidetracked with like side information that I never finish my point. So I'm working on it. So thank you very much for being patient with me. But anyway, I listened back to that broadcast and it was awful. And the it was freezing. So anyway, I took it down. Long story short. So we're gonna rehash a little bit of what we said, what I talked about in that, and then I'm going to tell you what's going on next. So let's get right into the blurb. That's the other thing too, is that when I did listen to that broadcast, it took me like a half hour to actually do the blurb. So let's do the blurb right now. If you don't know what the term blurb means, it's basically that the information that is at the back of a novel. So when you pick up a paperback and you flip it to the back, the blurb is like the description of the novel. And this novel is going to be distributed through Book Bundle. So I've been setting that up on Book Bundle, getting it ready to go, and I had to come up with a blurb, and so I wrote this. And I'll talk more one more time if I haven't said this already. This is going to be free and exclusive to my email subscriber list. All you have to do is join, and to join, just click on the link in the description below. It's also in like the profile page of all my social media. It's even in my Gmail. It's different from my Gmail account. I have a personal email account that I use to correspond with people. If you want that address, just ask me. But this is my email subscriber list is kind of like I use for my newsletter. Basically, I tell people when something's on special, when I have a new release coming out, like this one, or if I'm going to be somewhere. So anyway, let me just make sure that we're still live here because I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, great. So the blurb reveal for my free novella The Underground Railroad Ball. Put on my reading glasses because maybe it'll make me look smarter. A sheriff's deputy is caught in the crossfire of duty, morality, and the law when fugitives and slave catchers come to 1861 Detroit. Chester E. Newman is a sheriff's deputy in Detroit on the onset of the American Civil War. He wants nothing more than to gain his captaincy in the 2nd Michigan Cavalry. To do so, he must recruit a company of men, but all his plans are thrown into chaos when runaway slaves and slave catchers come to town. With the Fugitive Slave Act still in force, Newman must walk the fine line between his oath to the law and what's right in his heart. This novella is an immediate prequel to Rampage on the River, The Battle for Island Number 10. You don't have to read any of my books to enjoy this one. In fact, it's a good place to start. And then here is what the cover is going to look like. And then what do you think? Okay, this is not part of the, this is just my article. Oh, no. Where is it? This is a 21,000, it's actually 21,500 word novella that I'm giving away to my email subscribers. Is finished. Okay, yeah, that's just part of the article. So that is the blurb. I hope, let me know if you think that is if that sounds enticing, if you would change the blurb. I will say that writing blurbs is a different kind of writing and a different skill than writing a novel. You have to put on a different kind of writer's mind. Writing a novel is long format fiction prose. We are encouraged to write very directly and simplistically, without a lot of adverbs and adjectives to muddy it up. But when you're writing a blurb, that's like marketing copy, because now I'm trying to sell you something. So that's where you kind of turn up the heat a little bit. I mean, if you wrote a whole novel that way, it would get really tiresome after a while. So it's a different set. So anyway, so what we'll do, I'm going to try to be a little bit more structured here. That was the blurb. I'm going to tell you what is going to happen next, and then I'll tell you why I wrote a novella that I intend to make no direct money off of. I'm going to give it to you for free. And like I said, if you want a free copy, just go down below, click onto that link, and all you have to do is put in your email address. I'm not going to spam you. I'm not going to sell your email to someone else. It's just you're going to get newsletters from me from time to time. Usually, sometimes I go a few weeks in between. Sometimes I do a couple in a week. It just depends if I have something to tell you. And like I said, it's mostly going to be when one of the Kindle books is on sale, when I have a new pre-order or a new release, or if I'm going to be somewhere where you can come see me and get a signed copy or see me perform my fiddle. And sometimes the other news as well. So here's where we are. So I wrote this. I'm very excited about this. When I decided to do this project, I was going to give myself 6 months from start to finish. That is, starting to write it, edit it, and then distribute it. If I get this out before, well, I started May 16th. So I'll probably get this out in under 3 months, which I'm really excited about. It's a great story. Laura just read it, and we think that it's exciting. It's a little bit of a thriller. It basically, once I finished writing it, I put it through my own editing paces. I spent about 2 weeks on editing it, and once I got to where I wanted to be, initially doing what we call what's that kind of editing called? Where, do I need to add things? Do I need to take things out? Do I need to, am I explaining things enough? What is that called? I'm drawing a blank here. But once I get that done, and then do developmental editing. So I do developmental editing to make sure the story flows, that I explain things enough, that that character motivations, all that kind of stuff there. Then I go through it and start cleaning it up as far as like proofreading and editing the grammar, taking out clunky sentences and paragraphs, and streamlining it and making it very readable, and of course take out the grammar, spelling, and typos. Then once I get it completely done and I have a whole system that I use for doing that, I hand it off to Laura. If you don't know, Laura's my girlfriend. She's basically my de facto wife, and she spent about 2 weeks on it, going through it with a red pen. And you can see this is so she prints it up, and you can see like her notes, all that kind of stuff. So once she does, and usually what she does is, as I see her, because we don't live together, we spend about we spend 3 nights together. So when she comes over, she'll bring more pages of what she's finished. And so she finished her part of this Friday, and today I got caught up with making all her corrections. And then the last line of defense is my mother. I just sent it to her today. Today is Saturday, if you're watching this on replay. And my mom's pretty fast. And I mean, she has done, my longest novel was like 126,000 words, and she turned that around really fast. So I'm suspecting that if she gets to it, that's the only thing, she's very busy. But if she gets to it, that she could be done with her version of this as of by the end of the week. And that be the case, I'm going to go ahead and release it. And so I'm very excited about that. And what's great about it is that the way I kind of structure my work here when it comes to like writing books and releasing them and editing and all that kind of stuff is that I take as long as I do to do the initial writing. I try to give myself maybe 2 to 3 months of editing time to work on it. And then once it's released, I like to give myself a month before I start writing the next project in earnest. Meaning that if I have a hankering and I feel like writing some of it, I will, but I don't start holding myself accountable for like daily word count quotas, weekly word count, and monthly word count quotas until 1 month after I publish the last thing. So if we put this out next week, then whatever day I put that out, exactly 1 month later will be my official start date for Black James. And once I do that, then I'm going to go back to my scheme of minimum word count quota. So that's typically Monday through Friday, minimum of 500 words. Often it's 2,000 or more, but minimum 500 words, minimum of 2,500 words a week, and minimum of 8,000 words a month. Now, I tend to write anywhere between like 10 to 20,000 words a month, but it just depends on how quickly I'm writing, how much research I have to do, how much I get blown off course, how much writer's block I get, all those things. I will say that I've been doing, part of the reason why I give myself a month between publishing and starting the new project is to have some time to research and outline the next book. So I've been doing that, but I started writing a little bit of Black James already. And once I officially start, then I'll tally that up, and that'll be part of, if I get ahead, then it buys myself time. For example, let's say after 2 or 3 months, I'm tens of thousands of words had a schedule. Well, if I need to take a week off to do some more in-depth research along the way, which I often have to do, because my books tend to be very research heavy, because I tie my narratives very close to real history with real historical characters and all that. So that requires a lot of research and knowledge, and sometimes I don't realize what I'm going to need to know until I realize I don't know it, and I need and I'm going to use it. So, and part of the reason is that uh, in writing they talk about uh, it. A lot of people think of it as a binary. I think it more as a continuum of pantsers and plotters, or what's the other one? Engineer, architects, and gardeners. I don't know, but pantsers and plotters are the terms that are most common. The difference is that pantsers, like George R. Martin, for example, or Stephen King, will just sit down and start writing without a clear idea of where they're going with it. They just let the story tell itself. Um, Other people like me, and I don't, I know there are probably more plotters and pantsers. I'm definitely a plotter. The plotters are one, just like it sounds like we plot out our novel first and then start writing. But I don't think that you're one or the other. I think you're along a continuum. And so I would say that I'm more of a plotter than I am a pantser. However, the way I typically do it is that my outline of my book is very basic and stripped down in the beginning. And as I go further and further into writing the novel, that outline becomes more and more focused. So none of the books I've written, none of them have turned out exactly the way I thought they would be in the beginning, because I've allowed myself to develop the story and to come up with ideas and to try some things and to challenge myself along the way. So there are things that, like, for example, if you've read Mexico, My Love, there's a whole part of that book that takes place in California, in what's called the Conquest of California. I had no intentions of writing about the combat in California when I started the novel. It was only as I made my way through it that I realized that that was going to make sense, and that's what I wanted to do. So that happens quite a bit. So what I'm saying is, my not just writing books, but just in all things in life, I always say, I always plan ahead, but don't plan so tightly that you can't shift um, because on contingencies or opportunities that pop up. So um, anyway, so why am I writing a novella and giving, or why did I write a novella and why am I giving it free? Well, let's talk about what a novella is first. Okay. So a lot of people get confused about uh, how, say, how many pages is it? Well, a page is not a good, um, not a good measure of the length of a book. For example, this is like your 8x11 typewriter paper. Uh, this is probably worth about 3 or 4 pages in a novel. Depends on the format. Uh, a story I always say is that Mexico, My Love is 126,000 words. And when we were first going to publish it, we were going to first publish it as a 5x8 format. Yeah, 5x8. And it was going to be over 500 pages. And because it was going to be more um, physical paper, it was going to be much more expensive. It was going to be like $18 for the paperback. Well, I thought that was too expensive. So we reformatted it into a 6x9 size book. And it dropped down to 364. Same length, still 126,000 words. It's just that you can put more words on a 6x9 page than you can a 5x8. And you can definitely put a lot more on an 8x11 page. So like I said, that's about that, right? That one page is like 4 pages in a typical paperback. So that being said, I would say roughly, and there's a lot of gray areas here, but roughly a short novel is 50,000 words. I think the Goldilocks of a novel is around 80 to 90,000 words. Over 100,000 words tend to be longer. There are some that are really long. I think one of the Harry Potter books is like 240,000 words. For me, I've had like Rampage on the River is 56,000 words. Perils of Perryville is 69,000. Blood for Blood at Nashville was 119,000. Mexico My Love was 126,000. The Prussian Prince was 76,000. And then the French Fiasco was 109,000. Okay, so that's a novel. And usually my novels are broken up into parts. And my parts tend to be anywhere between, like on the French Fiasco, it's in 5 parts. And each part is about anywhere between 12 to 24,000 words. So a novella is like a short, that's a diminutive version of the word novel. A novella is like a short novel. And typically for me, a novella is about the length of one of my parts, because in my novels, a part kind of tells its own story. Like all the parts work together to tell a big overall story, but it's a different. There are story arcs in the novel that make it up. So this novella, and please excuse me, I'm recovering from tongue cancer. And I still had problems with like a swollen tongue, and I can't swallow well. So if I'm sounding funny, mispronouncing things, and gagging, it's because of that. The thing about novellas also is that they are more singular focused, and it's a tighter story. It's longer than a short story. I would say a short story is anywhere between like 3,000 words to maybe, I don't know, 10,000 words maybe. A novella to me is somewhere between 20 to 40,000 words, maybe up to 50,000. Once again, there's some gray area between 40 and 50,000 of, is it a novella or is it a novel? There's also novelettes, which are kind of longer than a short story, but not quite as long as a novella. This one, and the other thing about novella is, like, it's a short novel, so it's broken up into chapters. So this is 9 chapters, and 9 chapters. So like my novels are usually, I don't know, like I said, a novella for me is like the same length as a part of a novel. So anyway, this was all part of a marketing ploy. At some point, I realized that I needed to start an email subscription list. And I follow a lot of marketing gurus. And it's funny because all of them will say, well, yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can market, pick the ones that you like the best, but the email subscription list is non-negotiable. You got to have one of those, because a subscriber list is a way to directly market to the people who know, like, and trust you, who want to stay connected, want to know when you're going to have something new out, all that. And once, no one can fire you from your email list, right? No one can cancel you from it. Like, I could lose my Facebook account. I have, I think, over 3,500 followers on Facebook. I have probably about 1,000 on Twitter. I think here on YouTube. By the way, give me a like and subscribe if you would here on YouTube. I have, I think, almost 600 here. I could lose any of these any day, but no one can take away my email list from me. That I own for life. I mean, people can unsubscribe, of course. So, and the reason why you have it is because it costs money for me to advertise on Amazon and Facebook, and I do. But it doesn't cost me. It costs me money to maintain the websites for my email list, but it doesn't cost me any money to send an email out to my followers. And right now I have 107 email subscribers. I am hoping that it'll have at least 200 by the time Black James um, hits the market. Of course, I would like to have as many as I can possibly have. I have MailerLite, and MailerLite, I have the free version of it. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I have to start paying for it. But my feeling is once I have 1,000 subscribers, it's going to be worth it, especially because, you know, people will, people, your email subscriber list will weed itself out. For example, if people don't want emails from you, they will unsubscribe. And I have had people unsubscribe. It's fine because those people were never going to buy anything anyway. So if they're not going to be active, they're just taking up space. So I so it's okay to lose subscribers. And then also MailerLite has a function where every once in a while, like once I get close to 1,000, I can weed out inactive accounts. So I can have it look at the list and say, are any of these emails inactive? And if they are, let's boot them off to make room for more. So by the time I truly get to 1,000 subscribers, these are people who want to be there. They're people who want to get the emails from me. They want to know when I have a new book out, or when something's on sale, or when I'm going to make a public appearance. So how do you get people to subscribe? Well, first of all, you got to let them know it exists. So in all my books, there are links to subscribe. If it's a print book, then you have to type it out yourself. But if it's a Kindle book, Kindle Unlimited, you just hit the link and it'll take you to the landing page and you just type in your email. Bam, you're in. But sometimes what I've heard from not just author, like book marketing people, but marketing people in general, one of the best ways to grow that list is to give something away for free. And it's called a lead loss or a leader loss. And in the literary world, it's called a writer, I'm sorry, a reader magnet. And so I got this from Brian Cohen, who is like a marketing guru for authors. I actually bought a book from him that is um, email marketing for independent authors or something like that. And so he suggests that give away like a short story or a novella that's free and exclusive to your email list. So, for example, this is not going to show up anytime soon. Maybe sometime in the future when I write a new one for the list, it might. But this is not going to be available on Amazon. You cannot buy this. You have to be you have to subscribe to the email list to get it for free. So basically, I'm going to use this to entice people to join the list. And not only that, but this is an immediate prequel to Rampage on the River, which is book one of my series. So the idea is that maybe someone has never heard of me before. Oh, and that's the next step too, is that once this is out, I'll probably run ads on Facebook and say, hey, get a free novella by joining my list. And so maybe someone's never heard of me before. They get this book and they read it and like, hey, I really like that. And this is kind of like Rogue One in Star Wars, where like Rogue One is an immediate prequel to the original Star Wars film. So the end of Rogue One like immediately leads into the beginning of Star Wars. It's pretty cool. And that's how this works too. Like the end of this novella is right where Rampage on the River starts. It's kind of fun to make that happen. So, all right. So here's the steps that we're going to do. I gave this to my mom today, and we'll see when she gets it back. I know that once she sits down and does it, she'll probably do it in a day. After that, she'll get back to me. I'll make whatever corrections that she has, any mistakes that she finds. Then I will upload it to BookLinker. Now, BookLinker, like I said, this is not going to be on Amazon, so I have to have a way of distributing this to people. So BookLinker, and I had to pay for an account with them. They host ebooks that you can sell off of BookLinker or give away off of BookLinker. So what happens is the first thing is once I've this is done and it's uploaded to BookLinker, then I'm going to email my list and say, here you go. Here's your free book. This could happen as early as the end of next week, but certainly within the next couple of weeks. It just depends on how long it takes my mom to get to it. The next step is going to be then I'll set up the landing page on BookLinker so that anybody new joining my email list will immediately get an opportunity to download the book. Then I'll set up an automated email. So when you type in your email address and hit enter, it takes to a thank you page. And on the thank you page, you'll say, here's your novella, and here's all these different formats so you can download it. You can download it as a PDF, as an EPUB file, as a Nook file. There's like 4 or 5 different ways you can do it. And if you don't have an ebook reader, first of all, they're free. You can get like a Kindle app for your phone or your computer that you can read books on it. But if you don't want to do that, you can get it as a PDF and then just print it up like this and read it. So as soon as they put in their email and hit enter, there's an opportunity right there to download it. But then I'm also going to set up an automated email that as soon as someone joins, they're also going to get an email sent to their inbox right away with, here's your free book. Here's the link to your free book. So I'll do that. And then at some point, and I'm not quite sure how soon, but I will probably run some Facebook ads. Those will be kind of expensive. So I'm expecting to spend some money, and I'll be advertising, get a free novella when you join my email list, and I'll run that in the US and in the UK. The US is a bigger reader market, but I find that in my genre, it pays to advertise in the UK too, because the UK readers tend to like historical fiction, which is my genre. So and they make up sometimes half or even more than half of my monthly royalties. So it's definitely worth my while to spend money over there and to bring people into Angle House. And so it still it may not make a lot of sense to give it away for free, but the idea is that I'm going to be writing novels for the rest of my life. I'm 54 years old. Even though I've had a bout with cancer, I'm hoping to live a very long time from now. So I just counted the books that I have listed on my to be written, and there's 13 more novels that I have in mind, and I'm not going to stop there either. Once I get through that. So the idea is to just build and build and build a readership. And, it started with Rampage on the River, and you can see it when I look at my royalties history over a lifetime of there's a spike when Rampage came out, and then it dips, and then another spike for Perils, and then it dips, and then each new release is bigger and bigger than the last one, and that's because more people have started the series since the last release. So that hopefully by the time I release Black James, that will be an even bigger release than the French Fiasco, which is my which I had my highest month ever with the first. I had the most pre-orders I ever had, and I had the highest grossing month ever than I ever had when I put that book out. And not only that, but you have those spikes when the first couple months of that book comes out, but then when it drops back down into the lulls, those are still higher than they were before. So not only is my ceiling getting higher, but my floor is getting higher too when it comes to the peaks and valleys of my my royalties. So that's it. Black James is we'll be starting that one next. That is going to be as challenging. It's going to be a very different kind of novel. It is not in the main sequence of my series. This one is it's adjacent to it because it's a character that's in my series, but this is uh, basically happening outside of the main events that are in the series, if that makes any sense. So it's his story. If you read Mexico My Love, he's a pirate that the main protagonists encounter when they're crossing the Atlantic. And so um, all of my books have been plot driven. This Black James is going to be character driven, and it's my first book that's going to be like that. It's still third person. It's going to be generational in that it's going to start with James's father as a little boy in Africa, and it's going to go all the way up to the point where James first appears in Mexico My Love. So it's a character novel. It's nautical. It's gonna do a lot with boats and pirates and things like that. It starts in 1803. I think once again we're at the beginning, so I don't know how much is going to change as I get deeper and deeper into it. But it's going to start in Africa in 1803, and it's going to end right around 1846 is kind of the range, and then we'll see how it does. It might. I was telling Laura, I said, it's a gamble. It might not garner a lot of interest, and I might be spending a lot of time and effort on something that isn't going to do that well, or it might be great. And if it's great, then maybe I could write another book and have another series, the Black James series. After I finish James, then I'm going to go back to the main series. I like to call it the Carliad. I don't call it that official, but because Carl's the main character in it. But I have it, the next adventure for Carl in mind, and that series will have at least 4 more books that I have planned, and I might write all 4 of those in a row, or I have other ideas for other books that could be their own series or a new series, and I might either write the next 4 books in this current series in a row and then start something new, or do, and the current series is called The Long Century, do a Long Century novel, then do something, and then another Long Century novel, and then do something else. For example, I have an idea for a American Revolutionary War book. I have an idea for the French Revolution book, and I have an idea for the Haitian Revolution book. In fact, the Haitian Revolutionary book might be a revolution book, might be book 2 of a French Revolution, Napoleonic Wars series that I'm contemplating. So those might be 2 separate books, or they might be 2 books in the same series. I have kind of a between an interbellum between World War I and World War II story that I want to tell. It takes place in Germany during the rise of the Nazis as they fight against the communists in the streets of Berlin. And trying to think what else. Let's just say I have several ideas. But anyway, I won't ramble on too much more than that. I wanted to get you guys update. Maybe next time I go live, it's a launch party. If you haven't signed up for my email list, please do, because I really hope. You know what? You could get the free book and unsubscribe if you don't want to be subscribed to the list. It's okay. I'd rather you read it than not read it because you didn't want to subscribe. But I'll never abuse it if you do subscribe. So down in the description below, just click the link, put in your email, and already the glossary. I have a glossary that is a companion booklet that goes for all my novels, and that was kind of like a test project to see how the delivery system would work. So you can right now get your free glossary. So so you can get that now, and then, like I said, hopefully, maybe by the end of next week, uh, you can have this too. And then and I hope you like it. I hope you read it and enjoy it. And maybe if you haven't read anything of mine and you read this, you're like, hey, I like this, and you continue on to the other ones. Okay, so I'm gonna cut off there. I rambled too much. I love you. If you are a writer, keep writing. Um, and if you're a writer, you should be a reader. And if you're a reader, keep reading. And by all means, please give, hopefully 5 stars, but whatever you think is fair. 5-star reviews to your favorite authors, whether it's me or someone else, on Amazon, Goodreads. It really helps us in the algorithm. It helps us market our books. It helps readers discover our books. And if you want to go one step more than that, write a couple lines in the review. It could just be like, I really enjoyed this. It could be that simple. Okay, that's it. Happy reading, happy writing. I hope you get your free copy of this book sometime within the next few weeks, and let me know what you think about it. I don't know if it'll be on Goodreads because it's not for sale, so I don't know if it'll appear there for people that give ratings and reviews, but we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna cut it off there. Love you. Talk to you soon.